My automatic golf method is just that. It's a specific method that not only enables you, but will cause you to hit the ball solidly and accurately, time after time, without having to think your way through your swing. By watching this program, you'll discover that wrist cock, weight shift, proper swing plane, delayed hit, these are all merely effects. They're not causes. And as you adopt my method, all of the swing features you've been striving for will happen time after time, and they'll happen automatically. Now, the rules of golf say that you can have 14 clubs, and you can have any selection that you want. And clubs are basically divided into three categories. We've got woods, irons, and a putter. Now, back when I did the original automatic golf, woods were made out of wood. And this is the wood I used in the original automatic golf video. Now we're making woods largely out of steel, but they're still called woods. And actually, I endorse this method. They're very uniform. The manufacturing process is so exact that we can get the specifications that we want. And when I design a driver for a golfer, perhaps for you, it'll be precisely what we want with one of these steel heads. And this is what I use today. Now, the mixture of clubs in your selection of 14, that's up to you. I carry 3 woods, 10 irons, and a putter. There's 2 factors that determine how far a golf club will strike a golf ball. One is the loft. The second is the shaft length. The driver is designed to drive that ball further than any other golf club, 250 yards or better. The reason is longest shaft, least amount of loft. The 3 wood is not quite as long as the driver, and it has a little more loft, as we can clearly see from these illustrations. So the 3 wood will drive the ball a little less far, perhaps for the average player about 210 yards. Iron clubs are designed more with accuracy in mind than distance. But the lower number on the iron club, the longer the shaft and the less degree of loft. So as we look at this 4-iron, it has a little more loft than the 3 wood, but it has a shorter shaft, so we'll hit the ball further than a short iron like the 7 or 8, but not as far as the 3 wood. The 7-iron has more loft than the 4-iron and is shorter, so it won't drive the ball as far. An advanced player will hit the ball about 150 yards with the 7-iron. But if you're hitting a 7-iron 165 yards or only 135 yards, don't be concerned. These distances are arbitrary. A lot of things come into play. The pitching wedge has more loft than the 7-iron. It also has a shorter shaft. The maximum distance for a pitching wedge for a good player is about 110 yards under normal conditions. Now, the pitching wedge has an additional function, and that's to play shots that are even somewhat shorter than that 110-yard maximum objective. What I've done to demonstrate the importance of the club shaft length and the leverage it provides is built a little mini 6-iron. Now, these 2 club heads are virtually identical. They have the same loft, and they'll drive the ball the same distance if they are driven by a lever of the same length. What you're going to learn is you're going to learn a method that actually nearly doubles the amount of leverage that you have when you hit a golf ball. Because if we connect ourselves properly to this golf club through the proper automatic golf grip, what we do is we have a lever that is the combined length of this shaft and the left arm. Now let's take a look at this. If I move this entire lever, it's bound to be more powerful. It's just bound to be more powerful than if we do something like this. The Bob Mann golfer's philosophy for peace of mind. Use minimum leverage in your financial dealings and maximum leverage in your golf swing. When we set up properly before that swing begins, we have a long lever that leads all the way from that left shoulder down through the left arm and down through that club head. And if we maintain that lever throughout the swing, we're going to have maximum power and accuracy. Notice as the backswing has begun that we have maintained that long lever. No flopping of the wrists, a great extension from that left shoulder right down through the club head. Also notice the close-up of the club head, that we have kept that club on the ball. In other words, if we returned back to the starting position, we wouldn't have to switch or swivel our wrists to be in the same relationship between club head and club ball as when we started. At first glance, this looks very much like the last scene, but there's a big difference. Although the golfer has maintained the long lever of the left arm and the club shaft, what he has done is swivel that club open. Now that means that if he were to return the club without swiveling it closed as he returned, he'd hit the ball dead right. Now there's a lot of good players on the PGA Tour that open the club or swivel the club as they go back, just as this golfer's doing. And some of these golfers can hit that ball an awful long way. And a lot of them win tournaments. But they win a tournament this week, and they finish in 75th place next week. Because this kind of golf swing, although it can be quite powerful, because it does have a long lever, is simply not reliable. This golfer looks somewhat different than the other two golfers. Oh, his knickers are the same color, but if you noticed, he's broken his wrists on the backswing. Now what that means is that the length of the lever is no longer the left arm and the shaft combined, but merely the length of the golf shaft. Is there any upside? No, because it's certainly less powerful. It's also less accurate, because now when the golfer returns the club to the ball, he has to retime with an uncocking action the cocking that he's just done. Now, if all of that did anything, there might be a reason for doing it. But all it does is gives us less power and less accuracy. So if you want to hit weak, crooked shots, folks, this is exactly the method to do it with. So if you're looking for a powerful, accurate, repeating, dynamic golf swing, follow the method I'm about to teach you, and that's what you'll have. Let's examine this issue of hand action and its function in a golf swing close up using this dough and this cookie cutter. If what I want to do is crank out a bunch of neat, precise, accurate cookies, all I'm going to do is take this cookie cutter, hold on to this Jesse, and go boop, 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 boop. They're all going to be perfect. Now, there's absolutely no reason that I would take this thing and yank my wrist, or swivel it, or open it and close it. If I do that, I'm not going to get neat cookies. It's the same with a golf swing. If I take this thing and hold this club steady right through the shot, I'm going to get a bunch of neat, precise, solid, accurate shots. But if I begin to do all this stuff, folks, it can't be reliable. What I'm going to do is get a mess. It's going to be out there in the fairway occasionally. It's going to be out there on the green rarely. Now, some of you folks are very religious, and you're going to pray to that the God of golf up there in the sky and say, let Bob be wrong. Because I can tell you, God, that there was one time about 3 weeks ago when I did all this stuff, and I just nailed that 4-iron right at the hole. So if I did it once, why can't I do it again? Folks, what my method is about is not hitting a good 4-iron 3 weeks ago and then hitting a spoon shot that you like 3 months from now. It's about giving you a reliable, repeatable, dynamic, accurate swing that'll work time after time after time after time. You know, the greatest player in the world doesn't go out there and hit a solid every time. But the great players can go out and find that pellet, and they can play the next shot. So not only are you going to have the longer lever, greater distance, but if you make those hands nice and quiet, using the method we're about to learn, a lot more accuracy too. So where are we so far, folks? We've determined that if we have a long lever, we're going to have greater power. And that long lever with the quiet hands is going to give us greater accuracy. But how much power? And how do we increase that power and accuracy? And where does that power come from? If we set that club up like this, have the good relationship between club hand, left arm, and just simply set the right arm there, and we keep this thing in a fixed relationship with the line of flight, what we've got is a swing that looks like this. That doesn't look too good, does it? It'd probably be real accurate, but it certainly wouldn't generate any power. So where does the power come from in a golf swing? A lot of people think that that power comes from breaking the wrists, or what's known as cocking the wrists on the backswing, and then uncocking them on the downswing. And I propose to you that that's not where the power comes from at all. Because in the first place, if we cock and uncock, we're using a short lever. But more than that, where the power comes from in a golf swing is from a pulling action of the left side. In other words, we are pulling that club through. We're holding that club back and releasing it and pulling it through with the left side. Folks, here's a little device I've developed. Don't plan to sell a bunch of them, but it does, I think, do a good job of show you how power is generated in the golf swing. If you'll pretend that both the shaft and this rubber band were both the shaft, and the head was this little pocket, and we get to the top of the backswing, as soon as I load the ball in here. Now we're up at the top of the backswing, and the left side begins to pull. And centrifugal force creates a delay. And if we can release this thing, well, folks, you get the idea. It springs out of there. Now, the way the average player tries to propel the golf ball, or the golf club to the golf ball, is they make this big, glorious, beautiful backswing. They load up all this energy, and they try to then force the club through. Now they've taken all the energy out. All this good energy, all this great energy that we've built in by having the hands quiet and leading with the left side disappears if we do this. So if the left side pulling the club produces the energy, it's totally apparent that if that's producing the energy, that any effort at all of shooting the right hand in there will reduce the energy to the exact degree in which it's involved. Inasmuch as the whole golf swing only lasts a second and a half, your knowing what happens during the course of the golf swing isn't going to do you any good. You don't have time to think about it anyway. But I'm going to show you how simple the golf swing is and what does happen during the course of the swing, so that you will have a strong incentive to learn the automatic golf method, so that your swing will be just as simple and reliable as my swing is. Now, we've done a lot of reading recently about left brain and right brain. The right brain is the creative side of the brain. It's the free-flowing side of the brain, and it controls the left side of the body. The left side of the brain, that's the calculating side, and controls the right side of the body. The automatic golf starting position puts you in touch with the right side of the brain and the left side of the body. The backswing starts as a response action to the forward press with the right foot. In other words, right foot first, and then left side of the body creates the backswing. In this scene, we see that although we are well into the backswing, the angle that we established originally between the club and the upper arms has been maintained. There's no cocking of the wrist. There's no swiveling of the club. We have simply moved that club and those arms back in one piece by utilizing the left side of the body. In this shot, we've nearly completed the backswing, and yet we have the very same relationship between the club and the arms that we did when the swing started. With this kind of simplicity, we can do nothing but hit that ball straight and solid, time after time. Now here I am at the top of the backswing, and I have the same relationship between the club and my arms that I did when the swing started. So what happened to the wrist cock? Folks, it's not there. The wrist cock will occur as I begin the downswing. But all of that stuff you heard about cocking your wrists on the backswing, that's hokum. Get rid of it. Have a true, dynamic, automatic golf swing by starting properly, using the left side of the body, and you'll be in this position and hit those shots just like bullets right towards that flagstick. As I start the downswing, we notice a couple of things. First of all, my wrists have cocked. Now, this is not something that I did actively. This wrist cock has been created by the action of centrifugal force. And this centrifugal force has been created by the move of my left side towards that object. Now also notice that my chin is pointed well back to the right. This is the only thought that I keep during the execution of a golf swing. That is, unless I'm thinking about my girlfriend or something. But the bottom line is that if you start off properly, do the automatic golf method before the swing starts, and keep that chin pointed back to the right, you'll airmail that ball to the middle of the fairway and towards that hole time after time. As the downswing continues, notice the incredible contained energy in that golf shaft. If I were flipping this club through with my right hand, we wouldn't have that kind of lag delay, that kind of contained energy. My chin is pointed well back to the right, and I'm still pulling with the left side of my body. Even at impact, my chin is pointed well back to the right. The left side of the body completely dominates. We're generating terrific force because of the pulling action of the left side of the body and the contained energy in that shaft. In this after impact shot, we notice that my knees are flexed. Now that means that I can play this game for 100 years and never have any difficulty with my back. I'm taking the stresses out of my body by flexing my knees. So by flexing the knees, I've added power, utilized my legs properly to add power, and made my swing stress-free. Also notice that chin is well back long after impact. As I near the completion of the swing, notice that my right shoulder is finally bringing my head up long after that ball has been airmailed. Also notice the relationship between that shaft and my arms is the same as it was before we started this swing. And the great extension that I have, which has been permitted by the flexing of those knees and the free ballistic action of the upper body and the club. Wouldn't you just love to have a high finish like this? Well, if you do the automatic golf method, do the proper things before the swing starts, you will. Notice a couple other things about the finish. That there's been very little change between that club and my arms anywhere through the swing, including at the finish. My knees are flexed. There's no stress on my low back. And I have moved that weight so well over to the left side that I've actually rolled over on that left foot.
A golf swing takes 1.5 seconds to complete. You can't think your way through the golf swing. Since I released the automatic golf video a number of years ago, people have called it the swing you don't have to think about. And that's very flattering to my teaching method. But think about it for you. If I can show you a method that you can get your body in position before that swing starts, so that the swing indeed is an automatic response action, boy, you got it. This game's gonna be fun for you. And you're gonna beat a lot of folks. Now, the automatic golf method has 3 objectives. First, we want to connect you to the club through the grip so that the club, the arm, and the hand maintain that relationship unchanged throughout the swing, that long, reliable, dynamic, powerful, and accurate lever. The second thing we want to do is get you in a position that puts the proper swinging muscles in command before you start the swing, so the swing's automatic. And third, we're going to give you a starter move. For your right-handed players, it'll be a move with the right foot, and that'll get the motion going with the lower body to produce that powerful swing that we want. Now, the way the method works is that we grip the club up in the air. I found that if you grip the club down here, it's not reliable. Your hands go on in different ways at different times. So for you right-handed players, take your club, hold it in your right hand above the grip. Now that's above the grip with the club upside down, below the grip with the club right side up. But at any rate, it's right here. Extend it out fully in front of you. Bring your left hand in front and bring your left hand over and down on that club. Again, form the left hand and bring it over and down on the club. And if you've done this properly, you can let go with the left thumb and the left forefinger, and you'll have a good hold of that club in the last 3 fingers of the left hand. So again, extend the club fully out in front of you, form the hand, bring the hand over and down, slide it in there, and get a hold of it with those last 3 fingers. Then just allow this thumb and this forefinger to rest on the shaft. Now your alignment check is that there are 2 tendons, and they're right here on top of the wrist, right here. And these 2 tendons have a space between them. And when you hold that club out in front of you,
your eyes, that space, and this shaft, if we've got an alignment there, we're in perfect shape. Now the right hand goes on with a finger grip, and all we do is place the middle two pads of the middle two fingers of the right hand under the club, and we close these two fingers around the shaft, and we lightly, very lightly, allow the right hand to fit over top of the left thumb. So that's the way the grip looks to you as you're looking down at it. Now, we've formed an angle here. We've got a relationship between the club and our arms that's going to remain relatively unchanged throughout the entire swing. And once we've formed that angle, we don't want to lose it. So the second step of the automatic golf method is to simply lower the club from the shoulders. Now this is a critical point because the average golfer tends to do this. Lock the knees and lower this way from the waist. No, we lower the club from the shoulders. And once it's down to about this height, all we do, widen our stance to about shoulder width, and then we sit down. Just like there were one of those portable golf seats under us. We sit down. Now you notice I've maintained the angle. My knees are flexed. My weight is back on the heels. And finally, notice that the club is held off contact with the ground. I've noticed that when players lower the club and allow the club to touch the ground, what do? They regrip and lose all that good connection with the club. So we keep the club off contact. Now the next step of the automatic golf method is we turn the chin to the right and we view that ball out of the left eye. And this opens up the entire backswing. Now our starter move is a very simple move with the right foot. We simply push with the right foot and that activates the feet to start the backswing. And that's all there is to the automatic golf method. Now I'm going to go through it once more silently. Let my camera folks here pick up some good close-ups for you guys at home. The complete automatic golf method, very simply done. If you can do those 5 or 6 little steps, you're going to have a wonderful golf swing. Hey, if you believe that PR coming out of England about them inventing this game 400 or 500 years ago, I got a bridge outside of New York I want to sell you. This game's been around for millions of years. We had golfers maybe 8, 12 million years ago. But those early golfers, you'd never see them trying to wimp that thing down the fairway with that right wrist. They knew if they were going to drive those heavy rocks down the middle of that old fairway, they had to use the whole body. It's the feet and legs that give the power in any athletic move. Modern baseball player wouldn't hit it this way. Lead with the hips, the feet and legs. And it's the same in golf. The left side, powered by the feet and legs. Now I'm going to show you a little exercise, and if you'll do this exercise just a few minutes every other day, you're going to have a heck of a golf swing fast. I call it the golf motor move, and let's take a look at that now. I've been talking about it all day, but this is powerful. This is the learning technique of, well, this film's going to be around in the year 2000s and the year 3000s, but right now we'll call it the learning technique of the 90s. The golf motor move, I've shown it to about 1 zillion players, and once you learn it, you're going to have something that you can do at home in just a few minutes every other day. It's going to teach you more about the golf swing than all the books, all the magazines, and yes, even all my videos put together. What we do is we connect ourselves to the club, left hand only. We lower the club, widen our stance to about shoulder width. Left hand only on the club, angle maintained. Turn the chin to the right, looking at, well, the would-be ball out of the left eye. And what we begin to do now is move the feet. Right foot, left foot. Right foot, left foot. And as we keep moving the feet, what we see is that the club responds to the move of the lower body. It's hips first, club second. Move those feet to move the hips, and the club responds. Do this a few times every day. It's a good workout, and folks, you'll have a golf swing. From this angle, we see all of the elements of the automatic golf method. My chin is pointed to the right till long after impact. My knees are flexed. My weight is back through my heels. All of this permits my legs to be very active and my hands to be quite quiet. You can accomplish this kind of swing if you spend just a few minutes a day truly practicing the automatic golf method. That means the proper grip, the proper starting position, and most importantly, practicing that automatic golf motor move on a regular basis. The next 15 days are going to pass anyway. You invest those 15 days, or at least a few minutes a day, practicing the motor move, and 2 weeks from now, you're going to have a heck of a golf swing. Linda, if we took your golf swing on Hee Haw, the ratings go right up in the comedy department.
I'm afraid they wouldn't go up. I'm afraid they'd go way down.
No. But we're going to work on it here, and you're a great natural athlete, as I know from having you as a member of my gym.
Thank you.
And we're going to take you through the automatic golf method step by step, right up to the preparatory, right up to hitting the ball.
Okay.
And what we're going to accomplish this session here together is hitting some very small shots out there.
That's the kind I hit, Bob.
Right. Okay. So working with me, take the club in your right hand, push it out way out in front of you, extend that arm, and establish an angle about right there. Bring your left hand and form it just like you're going to grip it, way up here by your right hand. And close the hand, just like you're getting ready to grip it.
Okay.
And in a formed position to slide it down and grab that club real securely with the last 3 fingers of the left hand. Okay, now if you've got it well with the last 3 fingers of the left hand, you can let go of the thumb and let go of the forefinger. Let's give it the acid test. Pretty good. Not too bad. Okay, now just rest the thumb there and rest the forefinger there. Bring the right hand under these fingers right here, way down in the fingers, and bring them right up against the bottom of that. Just these two, slide them down against there. And just allow that right hand to softly close over the left hand. There's a natural pocket of that fits right over the thumb. It's a natural pocket right there. Now we keep that angle. Okay. Now somehow in this process we've got the club a little close, so let's get it square. Okay, now a little more angle. Now that's what we're going to maintain when we lower the club.
Okay.
So just kind of keep that, turn around now, and just give me this direction. And kind of keep this right here. Keep that right here. And with this angle maintained, what I want you to do is just lower the club from the shoulders. And now flex your knees just like you were kind of just going to sit down. What I want you to do is move that club with your right foot. Move that club towards my foot. Right there. And now move it with your left foot, move it back. And move it with your right foot and your left foot. But all the time, Linda, I want you to watch this ball. Keep your chin behind the ball, right? Okay, now let the dance get bigger, right? Right. Don't move the club. The club's going to move in response to the feet. Just move those legs, and watch that ball. Right. There you go. Good. Okay, move the legs more, and the swing will get bigger. Okay, just do the dance more. Okay, right. Good. Okay, good. All right, fine. Okay, now stop it.
Are we going steady now?
All right. Now you lead me.
Hold your hand as if you're going to grip it, right?
Right.
And bring it down in a V shape.
That's correct.
Making
Making sure that blade is squared.
Right.
Make that
I think
blade
that's what
squared.
I did before.
Okay. Alrighty. Now check your alignment. You see this space between the two tendons? It's way over on the right there.
Right.
We want to get it where your eyes, get your left arm extended. Okay, now look at that space and line it up. If you got your eyes, this space, and the club. If we've got that, bring the right hand down, put those 2 fingers right down there. Open the hand, just go ahead and open it. Right there. And now just close the fingers and allow that hand to fit naturally over the left thumb.
And I hook mine on, that's
Okay, the interlocking grip is fine. Just allow this to relax. Keep the thumb up on the left side of the shaft. Okay, now turn around. Keep this angle.
Widen the stance to about shoulder width. Again, lower the club before we sit down. Now sit down, but keep the club off contact with the ground. Turn that chin back to the right so that you're watching this ball. And let's see that same little move. Right foot, no, it starts with the right foot in the direction. Right, now left foot. Right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Wonderful. Good, keep watching this ball. Okay, good, terrific, terrific. Okay, now you folks out there that are watching this, see that Linda has got that club. She's holding it right on line and moving the club with her body. Linda hasn't played a lot of golf, but we see a lot of progress here from where she was earlier today. Fine, great. I don't want you to do anything with these arms and hands. It's all got to be with the feet. Okay. So let's go for it again. Now start from the top, go through the whole procedure. And you folks watching at home, it's very important that every time you paint by numbers, you extend the club, left hand down, right hand over, softly on top of that left thumb, lower from the shoulders, sit down, turn the chin to the right. You see, we have plenty of time before the shot to do things in slow motion. Wonderful. Now, did you see him? Did you see him get that sense of the knee flex? Wonderful. Okay, just right foot, left foot, right foot, right foot, left foot. Okay, that's what I want. This time, give me a little more feet, a little more action with the feet, and the ball will go a little bit further. Much better. Terrific. A lot of people think that since this is a short shot, it's probably the easiest shot. It's actually the toughest because we can't camouflage anything. When we make one of these big old swingy jobbers here, we can put in a lot of extra moves and a lot of high-speed camouflage and try to get away with a few things. But this is pure stuff. Now, what we have in you is typical of players over 25. When you get up to 26, 27 years of age, what happens is you're in great physical shape. I don't know what your workout program is, but it's showing you're in great shape. But you have lost a little range of motion. So your particular objective in doing this exercise, in the case of Linda Jenner, what we have is somebody who's a great athlete, in great shape, very flexible, but not quite strong enough yet in the left hand to control the club. You've got excellent strength, but you need to work on the same exercise. See, this exercise is a cure-all. This is about forgetting about the intellectual part of the game and just doing it. The more you do this exercise, the less you need to know to hit the ball well. But your objective in doing it is to get more and more range of motion. The hand is actually kind of on top of the club, comes in, over, and down. In, over, and down. It's already formed. And it's kind of formed with what I call the short thumb grip. So take it off again. And we want to just get this short thumb grip and bring it in over. There you go. Okay, now that'll give you a good secure hold in the last three fingers. All right, now extend that left arm right out in front of you and get a more moderate angle here. We don't want too steep an angle or you'd be kneeling to hit the shot. Check your alignment, your eyes, the space between the tendons and the shaft. I think you're in good shape. And now to bring that right hand just down those middle two fingers, but get them real low down in here in the fingers. We don't want to get up. There you go. Okay. And just a little pressure here. So the pressure's here in the last three fingers and the middle two fingers here. Now this right hand just relaxes over and fits naturally over the thumb. There's no pressure here. The pressure is only in these middle two fingers and these last three. Okay, now you've got a great set of hands to play the game, so if you just do this and remember that this is what you're doing, and you know the more pressure you get under, the lighter you grip it with your right hand. That's the secret. So right here and right here. Now extend that right out, maintain that angle, turn around, and lower that club from the shoulders. Now sit down, flex the knees. What a beautiful grip. Now you've made a very interesting point. We've got the right hand to the left of center. What that's done is it's given us two left hands. Remember we discussed earlier that the force comes from the pulling action. Right. So if we get both of those hands and turn them into left hands, we got two hands pulling that club. And we got no hands flipping that club.
Al brought excellent flexibility and a good golf background to the practice tee today. What we worked on was his grip and starting position, and the results are evident. Al's remaining challenge is to practice the motor move to build up the strength in his left hand so that he can control the club better at the top of the swing. Because Al has now started from the proper position, his body is very active. He loses the club a little at the top, but the great move with the body brings it back together. As we contrast Al's swing with mine, we'll see they're identical until we get to the top. When Al brings that club under better control, he's going to be a top player. You did it any better than that, you're going to do the next show. That's terrific.
Never done that good before.
That's
amazing.
terrific. Terrific. Terrific.
That's
Terrific.
amazing.
Hey, what did I get here? A piece of the set came off in my hand.
Thanks,
That's
Bob.
terrific. Before you venture out to the golf course, you'll want to become familiar with some of the terms of the game of golf. And the way we're going to educate you to those terms is show you a sample hole played with a variety of different results and use the terms that you'll hear every day when you go out to that golf course. Our model hole here is a par 5. That means that if you play it in 5 strokes, you've done darn well, as I said earlier. Now, the way par is established is by subtracting 2 putts from the total to determine how many shots it should take you to reach the green. So on this par 5 hole, if we allow 2 putts once we reach the green, that means that it should take us 3 strokes to reach the green if we're playing this in sort of a standard fashion. And that's what we've depicted here first. A drive to the middle of the fairway, a second shot in front of the green, a shot with perhaps a pitching wedge up on the green, and then 2 putts for a standard par 5. Once you start hanging out at golf courses, one of the terms you'll hear is scrambling. Scrambling means taking less than 2 putts to save a par on a hole. Now we're going to make a par 5 again, but we're going to do it with 1 putt, and that's a scrambling par 5. So we hit a drive to the middle of the fairway, a second shot up the fairway, but instead of hitting our 3rd shot onto the green to allow us 2 putts for par, we hit the 3rd shot into the sand trap, also known as a bunker. From the bunker, we play the ball onto the green, make 1 putt for a total of 5 strokes for par in this particular case. In golf, a bogey is not a fellow who played in Treasure Sierra Madre or Casablanca. A bogey is 1 over par. It's really not too shabby. And when you go out and start this game, if you make a lot of bogeys, you're going to be doing well. On this particular par 5 hole, a typical bogey would be a drive in the middle of the fairway, a second shot into the fairway bunker, a 3rd shot out of the bunker, a 4th shot on the green, and then 2 putts, our standard number of putts, for a total of 6 strokes for a bogey on this par 5 hole. A double bogey is generally not too good, folks. It's 2 strokes over par. So in this case, a 7 on a par 5 hole. Let's examine it in a little more detail. Drive to the middle of the fairway, that's good. Second shot into that fairway bunker, not so good. Play the ball out of the bunker successfully, that's okay. But on that 4th shot, we missed the green. The 5th shot, we pitched the ball up on the green, perhaps with the pitching wedge. And then we 2-putt for a double bogey. Making a birdie on any hole is superb. That's 1 stroke less than par for that hole. The way it's usually accomplished is having only 1 putt on that green. So in this example, we have a drive to the middle of the fairway, a second shot just short of the green, we pitch the ball up onto the green, and bam, 1 putt for a birdie. Folks, when you start scoring some eagles, you're up there in rarefied air. You're flying with the eagles. Eagles are most common on par 5 holes because what you can do if you're a long hitter using that automatic golf method is get to the green in 2. And if you get to the green in 2 and then 1 putt, you've got an eagle. And that's exactly what we've done in this example. A 2 on a par 5 or a hole-in-one on a par 4. That means if you have a hole-in-one on a par 3, you haven't got a double eagle. All you've got's an eagle. So most double eagles, like eagles, are scored on par 5. They happen maybe once in a golfer's career, and then only if that golfer's a long hitter. So here we have an example of that very rare double eagle. A drive in the middle of the fairway, a long drive. A second shot, right onto the green, right into the hole. A double eagle on this par 5 hole. Hitting the ball out of bounds carries one of the severest penalties in all of golf. It's known as the stroke and distance penalty. That means that if the golfer strikes the ball, it lands in the water, he has to go back to the tee, and he or she is hitting their 3rd shot because they have lost both the stroke and the distance. In poker, we call it luck of the draw. In golf, we call it rub of the green. And what that means is that whatever happens, happens. So if you hit that ball towards the out of bounds, and by some miracle that ball comes back into play, you just go up there, it's like it was never out of bounds, you just play it from where it now lies. Rub of the green. When someone picks up an implement, whether it's a tennis racket or a golf club, the tendency is, well, I'm holding this thing in my hands, let's hit this thing over the net or down the fairway with a big action of the wrist. And it really doesn't work, because if I hit the tennis ball that way, sometimes it goes way up in the air, sometimes goes over the net, and sometimes out to left field. Not very reliable whenever I change the pitch of that racket during the swing. Now, the intermediate tennis player soon realizes that they can have a lot more dependable shot production if they form a relationship between the racket and the arm, which is unchanged throughout the swing. So the intermediate player looks something like this. It's fine to hit every shot over the net, have most of them land in play, but if there's no power, there's not a lot of fun, and you're not going to beat a lot of folks. So once the intermediate player establishes that relationship and makes this stroke, if they want to go up to the advanced levels, they have to use the feet and legs. So the advanced tennis shot is an action very much like the advanced golf shot, in that the lower body leads the action. The fixed established relationship stays the same through the shot, and we get a lot of power. Now, if we compare the 3 levels of golf ability in terms of shot production to the 3 levels of tennis ability, we see the same thing. We see the beginning golfer go out to the course, lock the knees, and try to do the whole thing with the wrists. You've seen this plenty of times. Now, the intermediate golfer soon realizes that if they establish a relationship between club and arms that's unchanged during the swing, they can have accuracy. But boy, there's no power here. And the advanced player establishes the relationship and then moves the club with the lower body. During the demonstration of these shots, you will hear a number of terms used repeatedly relative to the stance and club face position. In golf, we have a shot that we call the punch shot, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you in a moment. Not only how to produce it, but exactly how to set up to produce it. But the equivalent of the punch shot in tennis we've just seen, that's that forehand drive. So remember the elements. When you practice in your backyard or against that wall with a tennis racket, and then bring it to the golf course because you can play both games equally well, we're going to establish a relationship between the racket and the arms we're going to hold that right through the shot and drive that shot with feet and legs. So the way we accomplish that with a golf club, or in other words, the way we hit the successful punch shot, is we first start by gripping the club down on the shaft, maybe about 2.5, 3 inches. This is, of course, known as choking the club. But what it does is it creates a shorter implement. Everything else about the shot is the same, except that as a result of this change of grip, everything becomes smaller. We're standing closer to the ball. We're a little more seated. And most important, in the execution, what we want is a very limited swing. Now, the backswing is contained, but the drive with the feet and legs is full and powerful. So watch these points as I hit these punch shots. Controlled backswing, drive with the feet and legs. More than any other shot, the punch requires great leg action. Practicing this shot will rapidly improve all of your shots. A lot of folks bring down their score by playing 2 balls. What I do on my private golf course is I play 2 pins. It really helps bring down the score, but in reality today we have a valid reason for setting up this green with 2 pins. You see, if we look at the shot on the left, what we have is we have a very narrow margin because we have a tree on the left and we have the pin cut very close to the left-hand side of the green. So this is an ideal situation to hit what's known as the draw shot. Now, the draw shot is not a hook. A hook is a wild, uncontrolled shot that goes from right to left for a right-handed player. The draw is a gentle shot that moves from right to left under a lot of control. And so if we start this ball out just about at the left edge of the right-hand bunker and draw it in, we have a tremendous margin for error here. Conversely, if we look at the right-hand pin, we would have no margin for error here on a draw shot because that right-hand pin is set right behind the trap. And even a straight shot here gives us very little margin. So the ideal shot to play for the right-hand pin is a fade. And the fade is not an uncontrolled slice to the right. It's a gentle move of the ball from left to right for a right-hand player. Ben Hogan made quite a career out of playing the fade, so it's obviously an effective shot. Now, the execution of the draw and fade can be seen very easily, again, by using the tennis racket as the demonstrating instrument. If we're going to drive that tennis ball straight forward, we establish that angle and we move that racket straight through on line, moving our feet and legs. If we want that tennis ball to go down and to the left, really hook cross court, what we do is we still keep the same angle, but we bring that club up and over, and we would be hitting the tennis equivalent to the golf draw. Conversely, if that tennis opponent hits the ball short, we want to come into the net, hit what's known as a chip shot in tennis, or the equivalent of a fade shot in golf. We still keep the angle, we don't change the swing, but we change the angle of attack, and that would be equivalent to the fade shot in golf. So let's start with the draw. Now, in this particular shot, if I were playing this shot absolutely straight, I would select an 8-iron. But the draw is going to go a little further than the straight shot, just the nature of the way it moves through the air. So I've got a 9-iron. Now, to produce the draw shot, we have to make a couple little minor changes in our setup, and then the swing remains exactly the same. The first thing that we do is in making the grip, attaching ourselves to the golf club in the draw shot, instead of bringing the left hand over and down with the space between the two tendons directly on top of the shaft, what we do is we make a slight adjustment of turning that left hand slightly to the right, about 1/4 inch. And that in turn turns the right hand slightly to that clockwise direction. Now, the second adjustment is in the stance itself.
Instead of using the normal open stance that we would use to hit a 9-iron in a straight flight pattern, we close the stance ever so slightly. And what this is going to do is change the angle of attack where the club is going to come across the line, impart a gentle left-hand spin, and bring that ball in from right to left. So with those two minor adjustments and no change in our swing, here's what the draw looks like. After I get in proper position to hit the draw shot, my key thought, perhaps more on the draw than any other shot, is keep that chin back. That allows me to make the full inside turn, make the good aggressive move at the ball, and still keep the club inside the line. Now that we've taken a look at the swing itself, let's take a closer look at the relationship between the club head and the ball. Because the stance has been altered, we see that the path is more from the inside. And this inside path, striking across the ball, produces the right to left spin and the beautiful draw flight. When we fade the ball, we're going to lose a little distance. So as we look at the right-hand pin here, which is set up ideally for the fade shot, if I were hitting that shot in here as a straight shot, I would select an 8-iron. But in this particular case, I'm going to hit the 7-iron because the fade is going to travel, as I said, a little less far. Now, to produce the fade shot, we make a slight adjustment on our grip, just the opposite of the draw change. Instead of coming in, over, and down with the tendons directly over the club shaft, we move the left hand very slightly, 0.1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, over to the left hand side. And of course, that positions the right hand more on top of the club. The second adjustment is made in the setup. Whereas for a draw, we were closed. For a straight shot, slightly open. For the fade, we're going to open the stance even more. This changes the angle of attack, where the club will come straight down the line with the blade slightly open, come on the inside of the path, but a slight right-hand spin for a controlled fade. Now, you're not going to see much difference in this fade swing than the straight or draw shot, because it's all in setup. But as we take a closer look at the relationship of the club head to the ball and the fade, we see that the angle of attack is somewhat different. The club is open, coming straight down the line, and this openness produces this beautiful but controlled left-to-right spin that the fade is all about. You know, there's a lot of occasions, particularly when you're playing with any kind of wind, because whether it's side wind, tailing wind, or into the wind, you want to keep the ball down low, and so there's a lot of occasions to hit what we call the knockdown or low shot in golf. Now, as we know, we only have one golf swing, and that's that automatic golf swing that you've already learned. So how are we going to hit the ball low? We're going to change the angle of attack. And the way we do that is merely make a little adjustment in our original starting position. So in this case, I'm using a 6-iron. But as you'll notice, when I set up this shot and move the ball back to the right in my stance, which will be easy to see, what we've effectively done is remove some of the loft out of the 6-iron. So we're hitting really the loft of, say, a 4-iron. Now, there's no other changes in the swing, the action, the head position, everything remains the same. Except if you'll notice that that ball is well back to the right foot. What we're going to do now is show you how to hit the ball high. Now, this is really obvious. If to hit the ball low, we move the ball back in the stance, all we've got to do to hit the ball high is play the ball forward. Remember that this shot is struck just like every other shot in golf, with our one basic swing, only modifying the starting position. So the proper starting position for the high shot is just the opposite of the low shot. We move the ball well forward in the stance. And therefore, we've created a situation where this 6-iron no longer will have the loft of a 6-iron at impact, but maybe of a 7 or an 8-iron. Now watch as I hit the shot, that the action remains exactly the same.
So that you can use these shots to your greatest advantage, we're going to take a look at some sample situations that apply to the various specialty shots. When the pin is on the left and you have a big opening on the right, you'll certainly want to draw the ball in. Much greater margin for error. If there's trouble on the right, there's certainly a lot more reason to draw the ball in from right to left, away from the trouble. And both of these advantages, or advantageous situations, become enhanced if the wind is coming from the left to control the draw and keep it from overshooting to the left. If the pin is on the right with a big margin on the left, let's fade the ball in there. If we have trouble on the left side of the green, that's all the more reason to fade the ball. Perfect example would be a sand trap on the left side of the green. Now, if there's a wind from the right, it's going to protect us and give us all the more reason to select the fade for this shot. The low shot is used when we want to bring the ball under an obstacle that's relatively close. For example, we have a tree that's close. We can't get the ball up and over, so we play the low shot under the tree. But primarily, the low shot is used in any sort of a windy condition. We don't want to get the ball way up, either downwind or upwind or crosswind. So we select the low shot for most windy situations. The high is just the opposite. If the obstacle is some distance away from us, we're much better off playing the ball up and over that obstacle rather than trying to hit the knockdown shot under it. Another situation that's ideal for the high shot is if the pin is on the very front of the green. Let's bring that ball in nice and high and let it drop softly if we don't have much green to work with. There are a lot of occasions here at Desert Mountain Resort to use the punch shot. For example, if I've driven the ball on a short par 4 up into within, say, 90, 100 yards from the green, and really want to control that second shot, what I'll do is select a longer club, choke it down, get more spin on the ball, and hit the shot under more control. But what I want you to remember is that the punch shot is a great shot to practice because it enhances your leg move. In other words, it improves your golf motor move.
On the automatic golf video, we talked about an exercise, left hand only on the club, preferably away from the golf course, no pressure, learn to produce the golf motor move. Well, here's a little exercise that you can do at the golf course. And the objective of this exercise, which is to hit all of these balls in series, is to get the feeling that the golf swing is kind of like a unisex event, that the rhythm of the backswing and that the rhythm of the follow-through, the downswing and the follow-through, are just mirror images of each other. And more than that, that a golf swing doesn't have to be an exact, precise, calculated event. Because of centrifugal force, all we have to do is keep the club in motion, and that centrifugal force is going to make the club come right onto the ball, right per schedule. Now, to do this the easy way first, tee up about 6 or 7 balls in a row, and all you do is put this club in motion, and these balls will all fly in about an area as big as a blanket. Now, the advanced version of this exercise, we remove the tees, maybe put another ball or 2 down in line, and same action. These golf architects, they love to put these bunkers just about the distance that you drive the ball. Well, fortunately, when this ball goes into a fairway bunker, it's probably going to come in at a low trajectory, it's going to bound, and it's going to sit up pretty well. And as an automatic golfer, you're well prepared to play this shot anyway, because the rules of golf say you're not allowed to sole this club in the sand trap. And since in every full shot we hit in automatic golf, we keep that club off contact, we're just light years ahead. Actually, I love to throw some balls into a fairway bunker and play this shot for practice. Because to play this shot well, it's just like the punch shot. You must drive with your feet and legs. If you try to scoop this thing out with your hands, you're just going to be nowhere. So what are the elements? The automatic golf swing, keeping the club off contact, chin pointed to the right, and this thing will come out of there just like it was sitting in the middle of the fairway. As we watch the proper execution of this fairway bunker shot, we can understand why it is so valuable to practice this shot. Notice how concentrated I am in keeping my chin back to the right until well after contact. That's the only way that you or I can hit this shot successfully. It is only well after contact that right shoulder finally brings the head up. Well, gee, this is a fortunate situation. Not only did this ball get in here without bearing, but if you'll notice, I got in here without any footprints. And when I tell people how easy this shot is, they look at me kind of sideways. The reason that the sand shot is so easy when the ball is sitting up nicely like this is because we have a tremendous margin for error. It doesn't make any difference whether we contact the sand 2 inches behind the ball or 2.5 or 3 inches behind the ball. As long as we make this club pass under the ball, that ball is going to come out nice and soft and land up somewhere near that pin. Now, in the process of making it easier for the club to go under the ball, you'll notice that I've rolled the toe way to the right. In other words, I've opened the blade of the club. And therefore, the overall height of the club is much lower and will pass under the ball that much easier. Now, sometimes these dudes fly directly into the greenside trap at a pretty high trajectory, and we get what's known as a fried egg lie. Now, this thing is a little more difficult to extract because the ball is already submerged in this little conical depression. Now, the objective here, we still have to get this club under the ball. And the way we do that is we not only open the blade, but we have to amend or change our swing. We have to take this club outside the path, down from a steep angle of attack. Now, the ball is going to come out just a little bit hot. By that I mean when it hits that green, it's going to have some forward momentum. So we hope we have enough distance between the edge of the green and the pin, but we have to apply enough force to get it out, and if that means it goes beyond the pin, that's just what happens. Now, when the sand is damp and the ball comes in at a high trajectory, what's usually going to happen is that ball is going to land. It's not going to make a conical depression as in the fried egg lie. It's just going to bury or half bury in that damp sand. And when we have this sort of a situation, we're not going to be able to pass that club under that ball. The moisture in the sand makes the sand too dense. The ball is sitting down too low. We close the club face. We close it extremely so that the nose of this club will come in, hit the sand 2-3 inches behind the ball. The damp sand will bounce off the club face, and it'll push the ball out. Now, this ball is going to come out hot, which means that we can't carry it up on the green in this sort of a situation, or we'll be playing the next shot from the trap on the other side. So we don't need a lot of force. We just need to bring the club in, toe into the sand, pop the ball out, and have it carry into this bank, hopefully bound up in the air, take the heat off, and roll up to the pin. Now, there's only 17 ways that this shot could have happened. Ball could have hit on the bank, rolled down to the lip of the trap. Ball could have hit on the far side of the trap, rolled clear across the trap to the lip. Ball could have landed just where it is. Your opponent could have come up and placed the ball in that position, and I guess there's at least a dozen or so more. But actually, this shot is not too threatening. We're going to apply the same principles here as we've applied to the shot if the ball were sitting up in the middle of the trap. That means that we're going to extract the ball by passing the blade under the ball. What it is unlikely that we're going to do is pass the blade under this bank. So this blade is going to come pass under the ball. It's going to get into the bank. It's going to stop. But that's going to have relatively little effect on the shot because we're already going to make contact with the sand well behind the ball. The ball hopefully is going to come up nice and light, get real close to the hole there. What I want you to watch for as I hit this little pitch shot is that I use the automatic golf swing. Nothing changes, except I do it with a nice, slow, easy tempo. Just let that ball float off the blade of the club and approach the hole without a lot of backspin. There's a second way we can play this shot. If there's no trap between us and the pin, and we have some nice smooth terrain, we can play what's known as the pitch and run shot. To play this shot, we select, I've got an 8-iron instead of that pitching wedge that I used on the normal pitch shot. To play the pitch and run, the action is the same, but we're going to let the ball carry short of the green this time, bound up on the green, and hopefully run in the hole. The pitch and run, which we just looked at as a shot that can be used from 30, 40 yards out, is also a shot that can be used from the edge of the green. Now today we're going to deal with two ways to play this little shot of, maybe 15 yards. One of the ways will be the pitch and run, and the other we'll call the chip. But the chip has so many elements like the putt that we're going to come back and show you that after we show you the correct putting mechanics. Now, when we make a shot this small, we are reducing the scope of the golf swing so much that it's very easy to see what really happens. The action is slow, the scope of the action is quite small. So let's take a look at this golf club and analyze how we can hit these shots quite reliably, time after time, where they're going to go online or very close to online without any question about the fact that we're going to hit at least a pretty good shot. If we take and during the course of our backswing, swivel that club open, then during the course of the downswing, what do we have to do? We have to swivel it closed. And if we do that just right, the timing is perfect, we're going to hit a straight shot. But if our timing is a little off and we make contact there or there, we're going to hit a crooked shot. So the first element of having a good, reliable short game is to make certain that that club stays on line during the course of the whole action. Second thing is that if we change the pitch of the club by scooping with our wrists, then we only have one point in which we can make good solid contact. If we're a little late or a little early, we don't have good contact. So the second principle is that we're going to keep this club moving low and level. And we can accomplish that through either the pitch and run, or the chip shot. In the pitch and run, we use our lower body and we simply establish that club relationship and do the whole thing with our lower body. It's real questionable whether putting is an art, a science, or a religious event. But no matter what it is for you, the first thing you got to do is know your putter intimately. And the first thing that you'll notice about this putter of yours is that if it's made properly,
that there's loft built into the putter. In other words, we have a degree of angle away from the shaft in the same way we would with a 2 or a 3 iron. Now, without dealing with how much loft is correct, because there's no exact formula there, let's discuss why the loft is built into the putter. If we're trying to roll the ball along the ground, it seems that there'd be no reason to have the loft. The reason that we have a loft is that the very first thing that happens when this putter head strikes the ball, particularly if the putt is of any distance, is that the ball actually, because of this loft, leaves the ground very slightly. And when it restrikes the green, it then develops that beautiful end-over-end spin that makes the ball die into the hole instead of lipping out. So the first principle of putting is that we want to maintain this loft throughout the putting stroke. And therefore, we have to move the putter head and our hands at the same speed. You see, if we move our putter head faster than the hands, we have a stroke that looks like this. And there's only one point at which we can strike the ball when the correct amount of loft is there. Principle number 2 of putting, we borrow from the little pitch shot that we just hit. If we take and roll this putter open on the backswing, we have to make a residual closing action when we make contact. And if we're just a little bit off, we're going to hit that putt way offline. So principle number 1 is to maintain the loft by moving the putter head and the hands at the same speed. Principle number 2 is to keep that blade on line throughout the whole putting stroke. Let it follow its natural arc, no opening and closing, or closing and opening during the stroke itself. Now, the grip in putting is a tremendous departure from what we've been using in the rest of the automatic golf shots. We position our entire hand, right hand, in contact with this putter grip. And the way we do that is we put the right hand on first, just the opposite of the normal gripping. So we get all of these fingers right on the shaft and this thumb right up on top of the shaft. After we position the right hand, we then bring the left hand over, and the forefinger of the left hand comes over the little finger of the right hand. The thumb of the left hand is right on top of the shaft. Now, when we lower that down to the ball, it looks like this. Both thumbs on top of the shaft, all fingers of the right hand on the shaft. Now, with this grip, we are in a position to stabilize that putter so that we can move the hands and the putter head at the same time, and we can also stabilize the putter and prevent the rotation so that we can move this thing squarely. We want to maintain this loft throughout the stroke. So if we move our hands way here, we've eliminated or actually created a negative loft on this putter, and that won't work. The ball will be pinched into the green, and if it does hit the hole, it'll tend to skip out. And if we move back here, we've changed the loft of the putter too. So we put our hands directly over that putter head so that the natural loft of the putter remains. Now, the action of the putt is super simplicity. We simply move the putter head and the hands at the same speed, and the ball rolls beautifully.
I'd like to say that putting is just about making a miniature golf swing, but it really isn't, because if we were making a miniature golf swing, we'd use the feet and legs to get some dynamic action into the swing. In putting, we don't need dynamic action. We need accuracy, and we need to roll the ball end over end time after time. Putting is not about making the ball go in the hole. Good putting is about getting the ball rolling end over end in the direction of the hole, and then it just kind of dies in there. Now, the first principle of automatic golf is quiet hands, an unchanged relationship between this shaft and the arms during the golf shot. That's exactly the same. The second principle of automatic golf is generating power by moving the feet and legs. We eliminate that. We need a nice steady body. Now, the grip changes.
When you folks come up here, I want you to use the automatic golf putting grip. And we want to get all of the fingers of the right hand on the shaft. So before, we held the club out, gripped with the left hand. This time, we put all of the fingers of the right hand on the shaft. The thumb is straight down the top of the shaft. We then overlap, or reverse overlap. We bring the left hand on, and we bring the forefinger of the left hand right over the small finger of the right hand. And we get that thumb straight up and down the shaft. By having these thumbs both straight up and down the top of the shaft, we stabilize the club where we hold a nice steady line. Now, the most important thing in positioning for putting is that the hands are directly over the putter head. And the reason is that the manufacturer has built a little loft into this putter. It looks like to me maybe 6 or 7 degrees. What do you folks think?
Yeah.
Now, if he wanted no loft in this putter, he'd have done it like this. So the loft is there for a reason. The reason that the loft is there is that when we hit a putt, it actually gets airborne. Just a little bit airborne. It restrikes the green, develops a nice end-over-end spin. So when we position ourselves over the putt, if we take and move our hands this way, what have we done? Delofted the putter. And if we deloft the putter, we pinch the ball into the green, and the ball skids. And if it does get near the hole, it wants to lip out. So we keep the natural loft that's there by keeping the hands directly over the putter head. We keep the club in line by keeping the thumb straight up and down the shaft. And we use the reverse overlap grip simply because it works best. Now, if we stood way out here, like we do on a full shot, what we would do with a putter is we'd swing that putter around the body, and there would only be one point we could hit it straight. So in putting, we want to get nice and close to that ball. The ideal would be for the head to be directly over the ball. So we're close to the ball, the hands are directly over the putter head, and the thumbs are straight down the shaft. The movement is utter simplicity. But just like the full automatic golf swing, we've got to move the hands and the putter head at the same speed. And if we do that, that ball will roll end over end. Big hit then. Okay, I think this is going to have to start with your grip. Get all of the fingers of the right hand on the club. Not here. All of the fingers on shaft straight here. This thumb straight here. This position here. So start with putting your right hand on the club. Watch what I do here. Just hold it right like that. Shorten that thumb. Okay, now come in and put your left thumb under and cross this finger over this. There you go. Alrighty, now just lower that. Flex the knees a bit. Flex the knees a bit. Get your head directly over the ball. And this right here, make sure your hands stay back. See, your hands have got to stay back, Alex, so that that natural loft of the putter stays there. Okay? And don't get cutting it now, right? Just keep that blade square on the ball. Nope, you've opened the face and you're going to cut it right there. Now just move the hands as a unit straight back. Aha! The ball stayed down and rolled much better. Now, I expect David to be a very good putter because he came out here with an arm swing. So if he has quiet hands and an arm action here, he's going to be a good putter. Okay? Okay, I like the grip. Looking good, David. I like the grip. Oh, nice setup. Okay, good. But not quite perfect. There was still a little cut action there. It's still fanned out. It's just those hands have got it. There it is. And it's just a nice soft motion. That had a little heat in it.
Yeah.
We want heat in a driver. We want heat in an 8-iron. Here, we're playing a violin. And we don't choke the neck of that violin and grind with a bow. You know, this is like the maestro. Okay? Nice and soft. But your position looks good. Your grip is good. Keep that blade nice and square on the ball. Keep the club very lightly on the turf, if at all in touch with the turf, and then just move the hands on the putter head, a nice slow tempo. Watch that ball roll end over end. That's the roll we want.
Okay, now just send me a better putt with that roll. But that's the action we want. Nice setup. You look really good. Just a nice little long, relaxed stroke. We got much better. You see now the ball rolled end over end over end. Before we demonstrated the putting, I promised you another method to play these little shots from the fringe of the green. Now we've already showed you the little pitch and run shot. What I'm going to show you now is the chip using the putter grip. Now from this distance, on these little easy shots, you should hole out pretty frequently if you use this method. Now we grip the club for this little chip shot in the same way that we did with putter. And that means that we're using here, in this case, a 7-iron, and this is the first time in the Automatic Golf video and all through the early parts of this video that we've taken a club other than a putter and changed the method. Now the reason we do this is that the distance is so small that we don't need to create dynamic action in the shaft. All we need here is a reliable repeating action. The elements of putting are here, so we use a putting grip. And remember how that works? We put all of the fingers of the right hand on the club, and then we overlap the left hand with the forefinger of the left hand overlapping the small finger of the right hand, and both thumbs down the shaft of the club. Now it'd be a good idea to shorten that club a bit, maybe choke it down about 3 inches will be fine. And then all we do is use our putting stroke . You know how the song goes. I get by with a little help from my friend.